So your teacher goes in, says, hey, here's a couple examples. And then your test rolls around, or maybe like your exit slip, and it's like, hey, can you graph cosecant? And you're like, yeah, I understand how to graph cosecant. And then your teacher's like, bam, try to go ahead and do this one. And you're like, dang it. I know how to graph cosecant. I do not recall doing these because maybe we only did one example of these. Or maybe it was just like one thing on the homework and I didn't do it. And then I missed the day that you went over it, or whatever may be the case. So again, let's just break down what we know. And hopefully when you're at the point of graphing your reciprocal functions, you've had some practice doing this for sine and cosine. Okay. Now these problems are difficult. They do confuse students. And a lot of times you can just, the best way to approach it is just to do one transformation at a time. All right. But again, let's go and look at what it would be for sine of pi halves minus 2x. Okay. And then let's identify the parts and so on and so forth. So the first thing I always tell my students to go ahead and get the b. All right. So to get the b, what we need to do is rearrange this. So the sine of negative 2x, and that's a positive pi halves. All right. Now what I need to be able to do is factor out this negative 2. Okay, now it kind of gets confusing. Like I can factor out a negative 2 from a negative 2x, but how do you factor out a negative 2 from a pi halves? Well, again, think about it as like dividing out that term. Okay, so if you're taking a pi halves and dividing out a negative 2, what exactly would that look like? Well, let's go and do it over here. Pi halves divided by a negative 2. So to do that, what you're simply going to do is think of that as 2 over 1, multiply by 1/2, or negative 1/2, and negative 1/2. And you can see that's going to be a negative pi over 4. So what this is going to look like is a y of sine of negative 2 factored out x minus a pi over 4. Okay. All right. So let's go and identify our amplitude. Amplitude of sine. And in that case, it's just going to be the absolute value of 1, which in this case is 1. Our period is going to be 2 pi divided by absolute value of b. You can't have a negative period. So it's going to be 2 pi divided by absolute value of negative 2, which is just 2. So that's going to give me a pi. And then remember, we got to identify what our x scale is. So our x scale is going to be our period divided by 4. So therefore, that's going to be a pi over 4. And then we need to be able to determine if we have a phase shift or a vertical transformation. And you can see that negative pi over 4 is going to be shifting our graph pi over 4 to the right. So we have our phase shift. So phase shift of pi over 4 to the right. And then also, don't forget we have a negative, right? So we need to make sure we remember that. When you have a negative on the outside of your trigonometric function, that's a reflection about the x-axis. When you have reflection on the inside, that's going to be a reflection about the y-axis. So let's go ahead and write that in there. Reflect y-axis. Okay. Now, what we want to do when we're applying our transformations is always apply the reflection before we get into our phase shift. Okay. Make sure you always do that. That's true for square roots, and it's true for all of our functions. Make sure you apply that reflection before you apply the phase shift. But first of all, let's go and get our phase shift. Or I'm sorry, all right, let's go and get our x scale. So let's create a nice little x-axis. Let's go a little higher, a little lower. Let's say, all right, so that's going to be period is pi. And again, pi over 4, so that's going to be pi halves. That's pi over 4. And this is going to be 3 pi over 4. And amplitude is 1, so let's go up to 1, down to negative 1. And then what I'm going to do is for each transformation, I am going to, each transformation, I'm just going to use a different color. Okay, so here's our sine, right? Because we know go up, we go down, we go farther down, and then we go back up. All right. Then, so there it is. There's the x scale, the period. All right. Now, the next thing we need to do is apply a reflection. Now, the only thing I know about this reflection is if I continue this scale back over here, then that's going to be negative pi over 4. This would be a negative pi halves. The graph is going to look the exact same, right? It's going to go like that, and just kind of continue over into that pattern. But What's also happening? Now this graph is being shifted pi over 4 to the right. So I can take this point, move it over there. I can take this point and move it over there. And therefore, just following the pattern here of what I have, I can complete this initial period or one period of the graph. And again, if your teacher is asking for more than one period, then continue just your X scale. So you already have the initial period. That's what I want to teach you. You have the initial period. Just continue the pattern either in the negative or in the positive direction. Okay, I'm giving you the basics that you need. Now what we need to do is understand, running out of space, so we'll use black as, well, actually, you know what? Let me redo this not in green because green is the final answer. So let's do this in a gray. So come on, gray. Let's do this in a nice gray, like that, and like that. Okay, so again, that gave me the reflection, which I shifted over. So now let's go into our green, which is going to be our final answer. So we're going to have a vertical asymptote at this x-intercept and a vertical asymptote at this intercept. Then again, remember, it's going to share these values for your max and your min, and then it's always approaching your vertical asymptotes like this and like this.